Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll just wait a few minutes to get everybody in. Tanya always says she wishes we had music, and we have tried that. We need some kind of a tool because it didn't work. But unless, Travis wants to sing or something like that.
Nobody wants that.
Got a few people coming in. As soon as they're out of their other meetings, jumping into this meeting. Just give it's exactly 2 o'clock Eastern on my clock, so just give it one more minute. There's Mike Reed. He comes to every single one of our chats. He's like our star CMA member. Very nice. Thanks to everybody who's joining us. Just letting everybody in, and then we will start talking to our marketers. So our beautiful hostess, Tanya, is very sick today, so I am taking over as Vanna White, as she normally calls herself, which I guess could be aging myself. Not everybody knows who Vanna White is anymore, but you never know. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. And maybe Michelle, if you can let anyone else in from the waiting room, that would be awesome.
Yes, I will take care of that.
All right, so welcome to the January 2025 Channel Marketing Academy call. And the topic today is top tools for efficient marketers. So we have 3 great discussion leaders, and I think what's unique about maybe all of them is that they come from relatively small teams. So that means that it's even more important for them to be very, very efficient and use the right tools. A little housekeeping in advance. Thank you to the Partner Marketing Group and also the ERP CRM software blogs that sponsor all of our calls. Make this happen. Feel free to ask questions, please, especially this topic with tools. We really would love to hear in the chat, or even, come off mute, raise your hand, and tell us if you've used these tools, if you have other tools to recommend. So let's try to keep it as a group discussion, which is really the intention, not just a presentation, but really a group discussion. Michelle's going to be monitoring the chat, put in some links in there, but again, feel free to put in as many as you like. So our panel is going to present their go-to tools, explain why they love them, and how they use them in their daily lives. So we're going to hear about project management software, social media tools, schedulers, analytics platforms, creative design tools. And let's kick it off with a brief introduction. Tasha, let's start with you.
Tasha Whitson, I'm the Director of Marketing for CongruentX. I've been with them for 3 years now. They will be celebrating their 5-year anniversary coming up tomorrow. As you'd mentioned, we're a smaller startup. I have a couple little contractors that help me, but otherwise I wear the hat of all marketing. So tools and efficiency, very important.
Perfect. And Sakun?
Hey everyone, I'm Sakun. I'm with Open Door Technology. I'm the senior marketing specialist there. I've been in the ERP industry for 5+ years. My company's been around for 30+ years. So, a relatively small marketing team, as you spoke about. It's just myself and another coworker, Mindy. So these tools are, remarkably important to really get efficient campaigns, running.
Whoops, you just muted yourself, Sakun. But maybe you were done. You must have leaned on the monitor.
Oh,
there you go. So I think we got the gist of it. Perfect. And Travis?
I'm Travis South. I'm a marketing specialist at New Dynamic. We're also kind of a relatively new company with a small team and doing some outsourcing as well. 20 years in the marketing space. Actually started as a graphic designer and then came up more and more involved in marketing as one does. So we're running that and just definitely have a lot of different backgrounds, experiences, and different industries, but these things kind of seem to overlap and come outside of those and are useful for everyone. So definitely glad to be presenting on it.
Excellent. We're looking forward to hearing about some cool tools. So the first category we came up with is, drumroll, AI, the big buzzword right now. So Tasha, what kind of tools are you using? And you're muted also. So we'll wait for that. Nope, still, there we go.
There
Okay.
we go. Well, obviously the CoPilot, Microsoft CoPilot, it's funny because I use that, but then I use Perplexity and I use Gemini and I kind of intertwine a lot of those. And I use that for everything, right? Like transcript summaries to blog posts to press release, email copy, research, kind of looking at competitors, different concepts, timelines. Another new one that I just started really exploring is Notebook LM, which has been really fun to use, creating fun podcasts off of transcripts, sharing docs. So it's just, that's another one I'm really exploring in the last couple weeks. But yeah, those are like probably the top ones. Mm-hmm.
Do you find that you use Perplexity versus CoPilot for specific things, or do you try them both for each assignment?
I kind of like to use both, but I feel like Perplexity cites a lot. It's really good research. But then the new Chat GPT 01 or whatever you want to call it, that's pretty good too. It comes up with a lot. So for me, I actually like to use all three sources. It's super easy. You have the right prompt, copy paste. Let's see what everything gives you. And obviously, as Chuck Ingram, the CEO of CongruentX says, is human in the loop, right? So AI can do so much, but in the end, I have to prompt it and I need to review it, and it's not a copy paste situation. So, yeah, I use all. You look at my bookmark, I have them all lined up.
Yeah, very nice. Travis, how about you? How are you using AI?
I'm going to tell a story that one of our team members actually did for one of our clients. So I'm going to do my best to translate it for him. We are a Microsoft specialist partner dealing specifically with CRM or CE. And what he did with Microsoft Copilot was he was able to set it up for one of our clients in order to kind of monitor their inbox on their website and filter spam into one folder over here that can get scored and dealt with later. Someone can, again, go back and review it, make sure we don't miss anything, but also kind of identify the valid emails or contacts that are coming in. And hey, maybe this is an existing customer. We need to port that over to our customer service department. This looks like somebody new asking a sales question. Let's port that over to the correct team there and score those as well on maybe an intensity or an urgency of those messages and really help that client get a hold of what could be an otherwise unwieldy environment of spam bots coming in versus getting to a client that needs an answer right now today. So that's something our team's been working on within that environment. So that's my big win for that client. For our team was getting that in place for them.
Yeah, that's an interesting use.
Mhm.
I had a friend tell me recently that he used ChatGPT and said, pretend that you're Seth Godin, his personal favorite marketing consultant, and answer my questions as if you're Seth Godin. And he felt like he got kind of free consulting time from a Seth Godin type person. So that was interesting.
I was at,
So,
sorry, just same thing. Microsoft's kind of work on the same thing. I was at Community Summit last October, and one of their specialists built an AI bot that was based on his boss. So he would run his presentations to his boss by the bot that he built and kind of say, what questions is he going to ask? What problems is he going to have? And very custom, very high level stuff, not something that is out of the box by any means, but just kind of seeing what people who are building the tools are using and trying to do with it. And so just lots of fun things go around with those tools and what you can do. And
It's
the sky's really the
interesting
limit
you
on them.
say that because with Copilot, you can build agents, obviously now.
Yep.
That's, a thing. So I've created my own little marketing department for different use cases, right? Like my little agent. So if I'm working on a certain project, I go to that certain agent and, ask it for its little assistance. And I was trying to explain to my husband, I'm like, the difference between AI, like CoPilot, and agent and what it does. And it's like, well, agents do things for you, and CoPilot like answers questions. Like, uh, yeah.
That's true. I tell my husband I'm training my robot.
Mhm.
So let's move on to social media. So that's changed quite a bit in my career in marketing. So, Kun, let's start with you. What have you found that's working well?
Yeah, so I'm actually very passionate about social media. I have a background in managing social media pages in the past, so big accounts with lots of followers. So what I found in the Business Central and in our industry is LinkedIn has just gotten massive. So you're seeing a lot of video content on there, and not only just video content as in like long form videos, but dynamic video where it's like things like we're doing today, where it's panels and split screens and captions are on there. So really dynamic video on LinkedIn. And then the tool we've been using a lot at my company is YouTube. And YouTube, I think, is very beneficial for really knowledge, like really like teaching, clients and other partners and VARs really what the solution does, and showing it in a really easy way to digest. Because sometimes blogs and screenshots is not enough. You can really showcase that really well in video. So those are two of the kind of social media spheres we really focused in on. And we even have some staff that create their own content, like almost like LinkedIn influencers in a way, where they're talking about really cool things in their realm. And I've even worked with them to create really really fun content. We have a fireside chat series at Open Door Technology with Tyson and Terry, the two sales guys, and they interview guys. They go back and forth. We have fun with it. I'll give you an example. We had one series where I actually got them to become, Microsoft Team AI. How you have the avatars. So they actually did the entire session as avatars. So that was kind of fun. So different things like that, where social is making a big impact, is we're seeing it in a video, and LinkedIn kind of just growing and even generating sales for some of our sales team members.
Mm-hmm.
And do you use any specific tools to help you with YouTube, like video editing or captions, or I don't even know what other tools there might be for YouTube?
Yeah, 100%. So I have a video editing background. What I use at work is Wondershare. So it's a video editing platform, and it has all you could think of in terms of captions and transitions. I like to use B-roll from Canva or Shutterstock, so to make the videos more dynamic. So it's not just faces talking. You kind of have dynamic video in the background. And I also use a tool called CapCut, which might potentially be banned currently for a bit because it's part owned by TikTok. But CapCut is a mobile editing platform, and it's very good for video that's portrait format. So I find that we just don't always shoot landscape. Shooting portrait also is really fun. And I'll give you an example. I was at my head office in Calgary, and Tyson said, "Hey, I want to, I know you're in Calgary. I would love to shoot some content with you." So we got out there. We shot with my iPhone in portrait form. Him talking about different things to recap the year. And at the end of it, I added some drone shots, made it really dynamic, and that video went, semi-viral on LinkedIn, which is really good. So really having fun with it and making it dynamic and fun and non-predictable. If you post the same thing over and over again, you're just not going to get results, right? So.
Yeah, excellent. I also have been doing portrait orientation on LinkedIn as well, because that's what they're looking for. And there's some nice tools out there, apps for teleprompters, and also for automatically adding captions, which look nicer than the LinkedIn captions. So tons of those just out on the App Store. So Tasha, how about you when it comes to social media? Any specific tools?
So I use HubSpot. Someone I think asked for that's all I kind of do for my calendar, because you can link all the social media platforms, scheduling, the A to B, the lead scoring, like all of that. So I kind of use HubSpot for my platform of organization for the social media. For the video editing, I've actually checked out Veed.io, which is kind of part of like under the ChatGPT, which has been fun. Lumen, Lumen 5, that's been fun. I mentioned Notebook LM. I've been able to upload anything and it makes a podcast. So I've started I launched a podcast, and it's all AI. I shouldn't share that secret, but it's our content. But that just gives us another, dimension with social media. Like YouTube's picked up. We put a bunch of content up there, whether it's, did you know, kind of facts or webinars or fireside chats, stuff like that. But I'm trying to get our team, even the consultants, to do more, right? Because just even shorts, even if it's like a 30-second, 15-second, like a lot of people don't know, and we want to help them use the tools, whether it's CoPilot or something in Dynamics or something new that Microsoft put out there. So that's, but I will say LinkedIn is probably our number one. And then we do some LinkedIn boosting, but Facebook is less expensive.
Yeah. And so a couple good tools there. We had Veed, Lumen, Notebook LM, and Sukun, what was the one you said what might be banned with TikTok?
It's called CapCut. It's a popular mobile tool. Yes.
CapCut. So I don't know, Michelle, if you have a chance, maybe you could put some of those in our chat so the people can get them later. I know I use for LinkedIn a tool called Authored Up, which helps you to just, put in drafts of posts to use later. You can see a calendar of all my posts, and I can see all the stats, so I can see which ones are performing better. I've tried a few different LinkedIn kind of connectors, but I seem to like Authored Up. Travis, how about you on the social media side?
I'll go with LinkedIn as well. Is definitely, particularly in the B2B space, where I'm getting the most action of it from. We've kind of, at least in the past year, walked away from some of the other platforms just because we were spreading ourselves too thin on trying to be everywhere at once and meet everybody where they are, as opposed to just targeting in on our market. And a lot of the analytics within LinkedIn allow us to do that because it is the professional platform. So I can track, kind of my visitor who's coming to that page or who's a follower and look at, their functions, their industries, their seniorities. And I can see that information get carried over into the ads that we could do on LinkedIn. Whereas a Google or a Facebook is a lot more generic of an audience. I can target it much better on LinkedIn. So just kind of making use of that platform as it makes sense to who we're wanting to target and finding the right person with that right message.
Have you uploaded like the lists and kind of done the target LinkedIn? That's like what we've been doing. It's kind of the persona. Like,
yeah, it's figuring those out of whether it be, we'll get some of my other tools into later of where I can get some leads from. But yeah, it's, hey, I've got this audience that I like, find me other like audiences.
Like audience.
Yeah, I need to target this particular sales level type person with this message versus a marketing person with this message versus somebody in the C-suite with a different message, and really being able to narrow those down and focus them and get more bang for your buck on the advertisement versus, like I said, put it on Google and it just goes out to the world. I can get that individual message much cleaner on LinkedIn.
And if anyone is interested in knowing a lot more detail about LinkedIn ads, we do have a training class on the Channel Marketing Academy by Amanda Sherry from Western Computer. And it's amazing to me that I think more people didn't watch it because she totally exposes exactly what Western Computer is doing, how much they're paying, how to, things that boxes you shouldn't check. So Michelle can drop a link to that as well, but that's a really nice recorded training that we have from Amanda. I think there's another tool out there I'm familiar with called Fibbler, and that's specifically for tracking your LinkedIn ads. That could be something to look into too. And if anyone in the chat, the audience has, any tools that you like for AI or social media, or tools you don't like, that is interesting too. Drop them in the chat. We would love to see them. So let's move on to project management, task management, marketing calendars. Travis, we'll start with you. What are you using?
So being a one-man shop to a certain degree, won't take all the credit by any means. I'm not using a lot of it right now. In my past company, though, we used Asana. We found to be very useful. But not that there's anything necessarily great about that as a tool in of itself. I think a lot of it comes down to how your team operates, because if you're having trouble keeping track of things, the tool is going to help you with that. But if the people on your team aren't putting stuff into Asana and updating it regularly, the tool is going to fail. So even with those tools to supplement and help, that we got a lot of benefit out of having larger weekly team meetings with everybody coming in, and then supplementing those with individual meetings of the whoever the supervisor was and the individual employees to help push that along. So like I said, I recommend Asana because that's what I've used in the past. It's not necessarily better or worse than a Basecamp or the other tools out there, but a lot of it comes back down to, in my mind, the culture of the team you're working with. And if they're not going to use the tools the way they're intended, you're not going to get the results you're looking for to keep all that stuff organized. Because we all certainly have our hands and plates full with all the different platforms and directions and messages we're working on. So those can help if you use them properly the way they're intended, and kind of get that agreement from the team that we're all going to do this together.
Just like your CRM system. I'm sure you and Tasha preach that message a lot. Tasha, what about you? You mentioned HubSpot, and any other tools to recommend?
So like Travis, when it's just really yourself, it's a little bit different. But when I'm working with other partners, because we do a lot of kind of partner collaboration campaigns, Basecamp has been a common one. But HubSpot for my content, like my year marketing calendar, I use that for scheduling. Otherwise, I have just another Outlook calendar where I can put things in and I can share it. So those are the 2 or 3, I should say, main ones. Again, sometimes I'm old school. I should probably put it, but I like Excel, or give me a good spreadsheet. I love it. Oh.
Yep. Me too. I even do pen and paper.
Yeah,
but I probably should.
Same. Like I've got a sticky notepad here, and then maybe it works its way into Microsoft Notes, and then it works its way into something else eventually. But it's something just being able to jot that note down real quick on the side. But yeah, it is a task in and of itself to manage your projects. When you have 20 projects to work on, you don't want to always take the time to stop and update those systems, but
Trapper
they work
Keeper, love it.
fantastically.
For me personally, I actually use Planner on Teams a lot, and we actually use a lot of groups, for example. So right now we're doing 5 trade shows this year. We're doing all 3 directions where we're exhibiting, and we're also going to be at Summit and at Dynamics Con. So with that, as you know, as marketers, there's 10 million different things you need to have for a trade show. So we have groups, and then within those groups with the members, we'll use a planner tool. So say, this task is due on, February 6th. This one is due on April 7th. And we'll kind of send those, and then you'll see a green check mark when it's done. And we like to try and keep the dates even, 2 or 3 days before, because you don't want to leave it to last minute. And yeah, there's this year we started with the planner tool has been super busy, because with the trade shows, they come at you fast, right? So if any of you are doing any trade shows this year.
Yeah. Great. And for project management, I think I'm also familiar with Trello, and Monday.com and Acton are also,
Acton,
I think you mentioned Acton. So those are also some tools to check out. Great. So we're at about our halfway point. So this is when we usually have our thank you to our sponsor. But this month we want to do something a little bit different. We are no longer having sponsors for our individual calls. Instead, to kind of keep the lights on for paying our graphic designers and our website hosting costs and things like that. We're asking if any companies would like to be patrons or supporters of the Channel Marketing Academy. So Michelle can drop a link out there, and what we would do is put your logo out on our site and give you all kinds of promotion, which marketers love, which is especially good for companies, of course, that offer services to marketers like us. But if there's any of you that work at partners that just say, hey, those gals are doing a really good job, I want to support them, you can also do that as well. We also want to make sure to mention to take the technology marketing survey. So if you have not already, Michelle from the Partner Marketing Group promises it will take less than 15 minutes to complete, and it is their annual technology trends and stats. I'm probably saying the name wrong. Michelle can jump in and say it. But the only way for us to all get really excellent benchmark data about marketing in our channel, which is wonderful to be able to go back to your bosses and say, hey, I need more budget. This is what other companies are doing. This is what's working for other people, so we should try it. The only way to get that data that we all want is if you fill in the survey. So please, 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 everyone on the call today, the link is in the chat, or you can use the QR code on the screen and take a few minutes to fill that out. The deadline, I believe, is January 31st, and there is some kind of a giveaway as well, because the Partner Marketing Group is full of marketers and they know good giveaways. So please take a moment to do that. And also check out our new patrons and supporters page. So next up, we want to talk about analytics. So we brushed on this a little bit, but Tasha, what do you rely on for analytics?
So it comes back to HubSpot, Google, then we, Dynamics has some of the analytics as well, and then we've got Apollo. So there's, it's funny that you say that as when I run my reports, they kind of communicate together, but some don't. But depending on what it is, email or social or I don't know about you guys, but you mentioned it, Travis, with like Google ads or anything, Google Analytics, we just don't put as much money in there as we used to. It's just too broad. And we found that because of the analytics and looking at that, we can kind of pin for Facebook, but then LinkedIn is more targeted. So I'd say between HubSpot, Dynamics, Apollo, a lot of different analytics tools that we've been using.
Very good. And again, anyone in the chat, drop in what you use. I know Amanda's here, so there's some analytics going on. Travis, how about you?
I don't think I have any different answers, whether it be Google Analytics certainly does wonders for us on our website, going through our email system, having HubSpot in the past in a different life was a lot of stuff. It was nice to kind of have in the HubSpot world everything together, but it being that second or third party down the line, I've kind of gotten used to almost going out and getting it straight from the horse's mouth to be a little bit more reliable, which is a bigger handful of stuff to do, of going to those different locations. But I feel like I was getting better, more in-depth reporting, and it had more tools and options available to it, and being able to dig into those is nice. And just kind of looking, not at the surface level reports that, like I said, a HubSpot can bring in, but digging into the individual pages. I know something I found interesting coming into this position is we do blogs and are really trying to up our blog usage. And it just kind of surprised me that the traffic on our blogs auto generates itself so much more over time that we were only looking at it maybe for when it first released in that month, when it was going out in an email, being published on the site, going on LinkedIn. But I can come back 3 months later, 6 months later, and those metrics just keep going up and up as Google makes itself happy and likes that content and just kind of feeds itself. But that's not a report you're ever going to get immediately on those options. So just kind of looking into those, again, diving into, yeah, click rates, open rates are great, but who is the audience within that is engaging it? Can I find, oh, this audience is engaging more, and kind of a lot of manual work in it, unfortunately. But that's where the real value of it is if I'm just looking at those surface level reports, I'm going to be missing the depth of the knowledge because we have more information and analytics than we know what to do with right now.
Well, you know, that's music to my ears when you say that blog posts are performing well over time. And you
Right.
guys are really killing it on the CRM software blog since you recently joined. Your posts have done very, very well. And as we know, there's compound interest, right? Blog posts that you post years ago still are working for you. But I'll get off that soapbox. So, Sakun, what would you say for analytics?
So for analytics, I definitely utilize Acton highly with our system. So for all our email campaigns, we build the emails on there. After they're sent out, a couple of days after, I'll look at the metrics, and depending on the campaign and the audience, we're sending about 3,000 to 5,000 contacts in a big email campaign, and we'll look at the open rates. We'll see where they're clicking. We'll see if there's a specific promo we have, or what specifically the email really drew their attention. So you're kind of competing against yourself every month to garner more interest. And a lot of the content is knowledge based, so you're kind of looking for trends. Like, so for example, a wave release for Business Central, that's always a big buzz. People are excited. Your audience really wants to know what's going on. That kind of content does really well, so we'll look at the analytics for that. And then we also do a monthly reporting on our social media. So I like to see that those numbers kind of increase, and just kind of look at the numbers on a monthly basis with our team to see what kind of content is doing really well and what kind of content isn't. That's why we noticed the short form videos doing really well, and we kind of tailored our approach more towards that. But Acton is powerful in many ways because it also does your website views. You can see how many views you have on different pages with heat maps, and it covers a lot of analytics, even in regards to outbound campaigns and forms. So when you have forms submitted, it will connect to your Business Central. So if we have a specific campaign, you can really see how many views that form garnered and how many people downloaded it, and even how long they viewed the form. So you get a lot of analytics there, and it's helpful, especially if you have a very specific, small, tailored campaign. So,
Right. And Tasha, can you tell us a little bit more about Apollo? Oh, you're muted again. There you go.
You didn't hear my puppy bark. So if people are, I'm assuming, are really familiar with Zoom Info. So this is basically another Zoom Info. But we found that the information, it connects with Dynamics, it communicates. So our team uses it for finding new leads, enriching existing information. So if I send them maybe an MQL, they can load it into a sequence, or salespeople, we can just send them back if they're not having traction. So multi-channel sequences, so they can have the automated outreach, the analytics, right, to understand which messaging is working, what's the open rates. But yeah, it's really a nice tool. You can have multiple, you can create different lists, you can, break down to those personas and say, hey, here's, this is our ICP, this is a like customer, and it can, generate lists. And it's like just another huge marketing tool similar to Zoom Info. Love
Great.
it.
Thank you. So Mike, if you have any follow-up on questions on that, just let us know in the chat. So let's move over to CRM and marketing automation tools. We've heard a little bit about what you're using. Tasha, you mentioned Apollo, HubSpot, Dynamics. Anything else you want to say about those? Those are the tools.
We share
Excellent.
the
How
love,
about
but Dynamics is our number one.
yeah. So Kun, how about you? You had a different one there.
For me, it's the same thing with Acton. We do have a lot of automated messaging go out to specific industries. So our company, we're very focused on equipment rental. So we have different verticals like construction, equipment rental, medical equipment. So for those campaigns, we will have, automated messaging and content based on, what they specifically want to hear, because it's completely different audiences, right? So the medical audience is very different from a construction audience. So we'll have automated content specifically for that. So once again, I use Acton a lot for automation, and that connects again to our Business Central.
Great. And Travis, I think you had the same, right? Dynamics and HubSpot?
Definitely Dynamics. Us obviously being a Dynamics consultant with with Microsoft, that's our bread and butter. What I'll say is special about that is this is actually the first time I've had connection between the sales and marketing software. As strange as that sounds, in my career, it's a rare thing to come across. I don't know how prevalent it might be in the world, but just the difference that makes in what I'm able to do and the actions I'm able to take of, the salesperson can, in Dynamics, click whatever box they want for that person. It automatically goes into our email system. They go through the funnel, they do what they need to do, and then I've got the trigger set up on my side to pass those leads back into Dynamics, and they get that instant gratification of, hey, this person's interested in this right now. Give them a call, reach out to them, and it's not a monthly, a quarterly, a weekly download where we're having to try and pass things back and forth. It's just that seamless integration and getting those things connected is a world of difference for especially a small team to have those things done and not have to manually push that through. So I'll put my time into doing the deep dive on analytics that I can't do because the system's doing that handling for me on the passing of leads back and forth.
Okay, great. So other random tools that you love. So we mentioned a few. I would say, I would challenge you to think of any subscriptions that you have. I think that if I think about myself, obviously my business is a little different, but I'm still doing marketing. What do I pay a monthly fee for? Or what, for example, I use Loom a lot to make quick videos to send to my team members. I use PictoChart and PictoVideo sometimes to make videos, Canva, of course. Anyone else, any of the panelists, what other random tools do you love?
Well, I don't know if I'm assuming I'm gonna love this, but I'm starting to look at StoryBrand. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but I haven't really dove into it much. But based on what I've seen, so that might be a new one. But I do the Canva, the Loom, someone said Jasper. I love Jasper. That's another kind of AI. Yeah.
And what was the name of the story tool you said?
StoryBrand.
StoryBrand. Okay.
StoryBrand. Yeah.
Interesting. Very nice. So Kun, how about you? Any other tools that you like
So
to pay for?
one of them I'd like to bring up, which I use a lot because we have so many different industry verticals, is a tool called Seamless.AI. And what that is it's a search tool where, sort of like LinkedIn Navigator, but way more descriptive. You can kind of say you're looking for companies in scaffolding that are in, I don't know, New Mexico and California with a revenue of 5 million, and you want C-level executives and you want to contact them. It'll give you all of that information. You can download that in Excel, and you can, create a campaign, really targeting specific niches, which I find we're doing a lot of. For example, from the sales team, they're like, "Hey, we have a tool that's really good for, medical surgical kits. Can you find us some companies in that realm?" And Seamless.AI is really, really good at that. With the subscription we have currently, it allows me to download 1,000 contacts a day, which is quite a lot. So I don't think you're ever going to go over that in a day unless you're on there, all day. So it's very useful for us, and I've grown our outbound marketing list specifically with that tool, and I'll probably continue using it for a long time. And they continually make updates to it. So they just recently have an update now where it'll even automate searches for you. So the AI is getting there where it's really drawing into those keywords and getting those individuals that you're really looking to kind of talk to.
Interesting. Good. Thank you. Travis, how about you?
We've covered ZipInfo, so I won't spend too much time on that, but definitely has been a help for us in finding those right contacts, those right companies, whether it be their intent signals, looking into who's visiting our website, as well as who does or doesn't have the dynamic suite that we're specializing in, so we can target them with different messages based on that. I'll go into Yoast a little bit, as that's been helpful. Again, going back to the blogs and having that plugin to kind of remind me of all the things I need to do as I'm posting that. Of give me a green light at the end of the day. It makes me happy when I before I post something, of seeing all those little reminders and what SEO tags work better than others and just ranking those. We've also gotten some use out of GoToWebinar, which there's obviously a ton of hosting sites on there, but what I liked about them was just kind of the ease they make it, of they're automatically creating the emails and the landing pages and the forums and the reminders and the follow-ups and the video. Like, it is so easy for me to set that up
Mhm.
and get it out, instead of having to create each of those individually in a different platform and tracking it. So it makes hosting those super easy from on my end, as far as getting things under control in one spot.
Very good. So we have a nice one in the chat with Kate. Kate, I don't know if you're willing to unmute and tell us a little bit about Paperflite, because that's a new one for me. I've never heard of.
Yeah, sure. So we started using Paperflite probably about 6 or 8 months ago, because as I was communicating with our partners about changes, enhancement to our product, we were hearing, oh, in the forward of a message, the attachment was getting lost and it was getting messy. So we created essentially partner portals through Paperflite. It's all branded with your logo, your company. You create, I call it the mothership. I'm going to use Kate language here. So I create the mothership, and that is all of my assets. We have 3 different products in different verticals. So I have a mothership for each one of my products, and then I create a portal where I can drag those assets from the mothership down into that portal. The magic happens when I change the document in the mothership. It automatically updates in every portal that it's in. So January 1, some of our pricing structure changed, so I had to change it in the mothership. And when I did, in the portal across the board, everything updated at once. So it saved me so much time from having to go through and re-email things and communicate the same message, over and over again. It was all in one drop spot. So it is a monthly subscription, and it of everything that I use, it is my favorite. It is my go-to. So I had to share it with you guys.
That's awesome. Thank you. I remember on our I think it was December channel marketing call about ISVs and VARs working together. That was kind of a light bulb moment when one of the VARs said, wouldn't it be great if we had a portal? And the ISV, I think it was Netstock, was like, oh, really? Would you like that?
Ding,
We could do
ding.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was fun to see I almost felt like I could see the light bulb go off over her head. So that's it. That sounds like a great tool. Interesting. So anyone else on the call that's listening in have any tools that you enjoy using or things that you subscribe to? Greg is using Fathom, as am I, which is a free download for Zoom and I think any other tool to get the recording and the transcription summary. That's huge. I love it. I really rely on that now. Yeah, very good. So while you're thinking about that, I will just tell you that our next group chat is Tuesday, February 18th, and it's user groups, communities, and listings. So we have 3 panelists for that, and even including a business owner this time, which is somewhat unusual as we usually have marketers. And then I'm still looking for people to be panelists for our March, April, and June calls. So the March topic is what's working now for social media marketing. April is why can't I just buy a list? Building, maintaining, and leveraging contact databases. And in June, referral and influencer marketing in our channel. So if you have any interest in being a panelist on one of those chats, please do let me know. I always love to try to get new people if I can, or you can refer someone else if you think that they they would have something to say about this topic. So we still have a bit of time left. Tanya will be disappointed in me as a host, as I might be letting you out early, but do we have any more tools that anybody thinks that we missed?
I just wanted to add, in terms of, talking about AI, I think one of the biggest benefits of working for a Microsoft partner is that we got the first access to CoPilot. And a lot of people forget that Copilot has not just use cases for, Word and Teams, where it's doing a lot of work, but I've also been using it for image generation. So, with social posts and, we a lot of times use Canva and images that are kind of already on there. But what I've been doing a lot more recently is utilizing AI images with ideas. So I'll give you an example. We wanted to compare Business Central, and we wanted to compare Dynamics GP. So one is a very old system, still very solid, but has a end of life. And then Business Central is obviously innovating and changing all the time. So the idea we had was, let's use like a vintage car versus like a super sports car, the futuristic. And the AI just generated different versions of that. And it was like seamless. It was like, oh, we have 4 different options here. So, one of the things people forget about AI is it helps you be really creative as well. So if you have a crazy idea in your head, you can kind of put it down in there and see what it generates. Not every single time you're like, that's going to work, but there'll be a couple options and you can have a lot of fun with it. So that's just one thing I wanted to add in terms of AI and some of the stuff that people don't always think of. They always think of, oh, give me a summary of, what this article is, but you can actually use it for a lot of cool image generation, and it's getting really advanced, I'd say, in the last couple months.
That's interesting. I didn't think of using it that way. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty, but like you said, with Copilot, it's not just, call transcripts or,
Mm-hmm.
summaries or email summaries or help me write this email. We actually at CongruentX have Dialogue Copilot, and we built it so it sits on top of Microsoft's Copilot, and they kind of work together, and it's like a playbook, right? Like it helps analyze the conversation and gives you feedback and kind of scores it. And so it's interesting. Like we talked about, there's so many different analytics, but that's useful information for marketers as well. It's like, okay, like what are they saying? What is it ranking? Where are they at? So I think people think of AI or Copilot as just like answer this, but there's so many other ways to utilize it.
Yeah. Great thoughts. Well, thank you all very much. I think we got some new tools that we hadn't heard of, and maybe some that we aren't using to their full potential, and some ideas on how to do that. So thank you everybody for joining us this month, and we look forward to seeing you back in February. And thank you very much to our panelists.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.